Hi everybody, I'm Brandon.
I'm Ellie.
Welcome to Real Rank Reviews. Today we are doing episode 5 of our MCU Ranking and Review. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun so far.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this.
So what we're doing is, for those of you who haven't watched all of our episodes, we are watching all of the MCU in order, everything from Iron Man to Endgame when that comes out. And we wanted to rank all these movies, but we also wanted to rank them after having watched them very quick one after another. We are up to Age of Ultron, so we are adding them in chunks. So yes. We're adding 2 movies at a time to our list, so we don't have to deal with them all in one huge gigantic list.
It's too much.
Fight for 2 hours. But the films we're adding today are Ant-Man and Age of Ultron, which gets us a little bit past the halfway point.
Yep, we're just
Age of Ultron was the past halfway point of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
So, without further ado,
mentally preparing myself. Okay.
Ready?
This is the first time we've seen each other's
lists.
lists.
We haven't seen each other's lists before. Ready, set, go. I can't blame you. That's valid.
Yeah, I'm not mad at...
It's close.
I'm a little bit mad at you, but I'm not that mad at you.
Okay. I was thinking this was going to be one where we would fight a little bit less because it's just
so close. Why don't you say your list?
Okay, my list from worst to best is Iron Man 2, followed by Thor, then Thor the Dark World, then Iron Man, then Guardians of the Galaxy, then Iron Man 3, then Ant-Man, then Avengers Age of Ultron, then Captain America the First Avenger, followed by the Incredible Hulk, followed by Captain America the Winter Soldier, followed by the Avengers.
My list from bottom to top, Iron Man 2 is on the very bottom because it deserves to be, and then Iron Man 1, and then the Incredible Hulk, and then Iron Man 3, and then Thor 2, Thor 1, Age of Ultron, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, Winter Soldier, Avengers, and then Captain America.
Alright, so what are your biggest problems with how I added these in?
I like Ant-Man a little bit more clearly than Age of Ultron, and so I'm surprised that you put them in
I was splitting hairs.
Yeah.
I just like ensemble movies a little bit.
I know you do.
And I remember watching Ant-Man and having the same feeling I had when I watched Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Yeah.
Better than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't blow me away though. I thought that, well, people do have a point when they say Ant-Man's powers really don't make a ton of sense. Sure. I make a lot of excuses for him all the time.
Sure.
Because supposedly when he's shrinking, it's closing the distance between atoms, which means he should be weigh just as much when he's small, which means he shouldn't be able to ride an ant. In his opening montage when he's trying on the suit, he should break through the record on the DJ's little wiki thing. And there are just lots of inconsistencies. That's not the worst. You know, it's science fiction, I can accept that.
It's true in the comics, so that's not necessarily an issue with the movie itself. That's an issue with the character, specifically. Right,
they could have fixed it, though. It would have been a little bit hard.
Not without changing the entire character.
No, Scott Lang as the character would have been fine. They just would have changed his power set a little.
Yeah, a lot of people would have been upset about that.
They probably would have been. Well, I don't know. Maybe. I've heard.
Anyway.
Yeah, I've just heard lots of complaints about it, and it's affected me a little bit.
I understand that. I really did.
Even though Paul Rudd is a gift.
See, but how can you? We haven't added this to our list yet, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But how can you complain about Ant-Man's powers and not complain about Doctor Strange's powers? We'll get to that when
No, because Ant-Man's is supposedly based on science, but they explain the rules to you and then immediately disobey them egregiously.
Maybe it's just science you don't understand yet, to quote one of the best movies. Just kidding. But
well, maybe I'm willing to accept that. I hope they bring that up in the movies. I hope they say Hank Pym was lying about how the powers worked. It's maybe not actually.
That's how he was explaining it
denser.
to the dumbed down people who don't understand
particular
science.
But they didn't include that in the movie, so it's not canon yet.
Valid. I just have faith.
Yeah, they didn't do it in the sequel though, and so I'm hopeful for Avengers Endgame we get more of an explanation.
Sure.
But they said it was science, and even someone like me who doesn't know a ton about science can tell that the science doesn't check out.
Understandable.
I'm going to defend Doctor Strange for a second because you brought him up very briefly, even though he's not on our list. Full spoilers for everything MCU. We should put that at the beginning of all our videos. This is spoilers for everything.
Yeah.
Except Endgame, which we have not seen.
Obviously.
Doctor Strange, they don't tell you the rules, therefore they can't break them. You can't break what you never make.
More.
Oh, I love that.
Anyway,
that's great.
We'll talk about that in our next video, right? We're watching.
Yeah, the next video.
Okay.
Next video.
I'm gonna prepare myself. Anyway, so I actually originally had switched Thor and Age of Ultron. I had Age of Ultron below,
Ooh.
but then I was like, no, it's an ensemble movie. I have to give it a little bit more credit than Thor.
It's a fairly good ensemble movie.
Yeah.
I will say, as I watch it more, that opening sequence with all the Avengers together is really CGI heavy.
Yeah.
And it's to the point where now I'm actually like, this looks bad, not good.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst Avengers sequence of all them together that I've seen.
I had a couple issues in Infinity War with the Hulkbuster and near the end in Wakanda.
I didn't notice it.
But this was much worse.
Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty rough, but it was still like a good movie. It was still funny.
Yeah.
Lots of people rag on it. Some people think it's like one of the lowest or the lowest. And
I don't like it all that much, but it made it like, it's literally the halfway point on my list. So
it's a little above the halfway. It's probably like an A- for me, or
I wouldn't put it that high.
Or a B+.
I'd say like just maybe a solid B.
Yes, but you have some movies that you actually think are below a C+. There's only one movie that's below a C+ for me, and that's Iron Man 2. Everything else is C+ or above.
Yeah.
Marvel makes good movies.
This is true. I'm not saying any of these movies are awful and that I would never watch them ever. I just have clear preferences and I know what I'm about.
Yeah, exactly. But you put, so we both agree Age of Ultron was a step down from Avengers.
Yes, obviously.
We disagree on Ant-Man, whether or not Ant-Man is above Age of Ultron.
Just a touch, yeah.
But not too much.
Yeah, it's not that bad, actually. I'm surprised.
You know, I was debating. I knew both of these were below the first Avenger.
Okay.
But I debated putting them as low as under Guardians of the Galaxy.
Interesting.
Just because these ones are all so close in my
Yeah. A lot of this was humor for me too.
I think Paul Rudd saves it.
Yeah, he really does. How about Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd's great. He needs more attention.
A gift to this world.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Paul Rudd's great.
His workout scene paid off well.
It did.
For an aged man in this film.
And I will point out that having now watched Ant-Man and the Wasp before this, and this might change when I watch Ant-Man and the Wasp for our official marathon, but he's funnier in Ant-Man and the Wasp than he is in Ant-Man. And like after freshly watching this, I'm like, wow, yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp is definitively funnier. And I think it's because so in the first Ant-Man, they started with Edgar Wright's script, and then they rewrote it enough that like it wasn't him, but they started with a clean slate for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Paul Rudd was one of the writers. And I think they were able to channel more Paul Rudd humor.
Paul Rudd is good.
And it was more catered to him.
Yes.
Yes. Paul Rudd, I think, if you like ask me like who is the funniest member of the MCU, I would have to say probably Paul Rudd.
Really?
Maybe Chris Hemsworth. Thor is up there. Thor is funny.
Really? For me it's in the top three. I don't know in order, but Paul Rudd, Chris Pratt, and Chris Hemsworth.
See, a lot in the movies, not quite as many of Star-Lord's jokes land for me.
I don't know. He's just dorky.
Thor was really, really funny in Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
And he was mildly funny in the other. He had really good moments in the other two, but the script didn't do him any favors.
Right.
But I just think Paul Rudd is the powerhouse comedian. I like his delivery.
This is true.
It's my personal preference.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm not mad at you for that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight you on it. Surprise.
We didn't fight too bad. What's our next video? What's our next two movies we're watching?
Doctor Strange is one of them.
And Captain America Civil War.
And Captain America.
So those are our next two. There will be fighting for Doctor Strange, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be so ready.
Historically, if previous lists I've made are accurate and Doctor Strange still holds up, and if Ellie is still petty, we will fight greatly next time.
Petty? Petty? Excuse me.
Love
you mean an
you.
intelligent movie watcher?
It's great. I'm really excited to see Benedict Cumberbatch again. He's great. Anyways, so that's going to be our next episode, episode 6.
Yeah.
It's going to be 10 total episodes in this MCU ranking, so keep an eye on it. We're going to upload the next one, Civil War and Doctor Strange, on Monday. So
be ready for that.
keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, we're uploading this one Monday.
Oh.
Doctor Strange Civil War Thursday.
Yep. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
We'll see you on Thursday.
We'll see you on Thursday. Like, share, subscribe.
Put your lists in the comments below. Fight us.
Yep.
Bye.
Adios, friends.